It had been several days since Mark's return, and a restless ache had settled in his chest, a mix of longing and frustration. Ever since he'd resolved to confess his feelings to Linda, he'd been thwarted at every turn. Whenever he tried to catch her alone, she slipped away with an excuse. The baby needed her. She had to help Nana in the kitchen, or she was simply too tired to talk. Still, his determination never wavered. "I can't let this go on forever," he told himself. She needed to hear how he truly felt, how he had come to care for her, and how sorry he was for the distance he'd placed between them. Mark also couldn't ignore the growing bond he felt with the baby. It was almost surreal how comforting he found her tiny presence. Holding her close, inhaling that soft, milky scent, listening to her gentle coos, he'd realized just how foolish he had been for so long, keeping her at arm's length. In those quiet moments he felt a warmth spread through his heart, a sense of belonging he hadn't experienced before. "You were so stupid to avoid her all this time," he chastised himself, remembering the many nights he'd shut himself away, letting his anger at the past colour every moment. "All the time I wasted, but no more." He was determined to do right by his daughter and by Linda. Linda was heading for the balcony, the baby resting against her shoulder. She needed some air. Her mind was in turmoil, especially after hearing Lydia's flirtatious words in Mark's room a few days ago. She tried to shake off the memory, but it haunted her. She paused in the hallway, adjusting the little one in her arms. "I shouldn't assume anything," she told herself. But why was Lydia in Mark's room like that, behind closed doors? A pang of unexpected jealousy and hurt twisted her chest. Suddenly footsteps echoed behind her. She turned to see Mark approaching, his expression poised between determination and unease. She instinctively shifted the baby, her body tensing as if preparing to flee. "Linda," Mark said quietly, stopping just a few paces away. He gave a small, earnest smile, his eyes drifting fondly to the baby before returning to her. "Do you have a minute?" She hesitated. "I was just about to take her outside for some fresh air," she answered, her tone cautious. He cleared his throat. "Do you mind if I join you? I wanted to talk." Linda's heart fluttered with both anticipation and dread. She remembered how she had seen Lydia practically throwing herself at Mark. He probably wants to tell me they're together now, or maybe he's going to say I need to leave." Her thoughts spiraled, and she tried to steel herself against the sting. But when he didn't move or speak further, she nodded stiffly. "Okay." They walked out onto the balcony together, the late afternoon sun casting warm light across the stone floor. Linda shifted the baby so that she could rest comfortably against her shoulder. Mark, for his part, kept glancing at Linda, searching for words. "So, how has she been?" he asked, finally breaking the silence. He reached out tentatively, letting the baby's tiny hand curl around his finger. Linda exhaled a small breath of relief. She'd expected him to bring up something else entirely. "She's been good, sleeping through most of the night, which is a blessing. She's growing fast, too. I think she's almost ready for the next size in clothes." A tender smile touched Mark's lips. "Already, time flies," he said softly, his gaze lingering on the child's peaceful face. Linda added, "She's getting heavier too." Mark chuckled. "I noticed. My arms feel like they get a workout every time I hold her." A beat passed, and then his expression shifted, a hint of nerves creeping in. He cleared his throat again. Mark began, "Linda, I've been wanting to talk to you about—" She tensed, bracing for whatever he might say. The memory of Lydia's voice in his room played through her mind. "I missed you so much, Mark." The words rang in her ears. Sensing her discomfort, Mark hesitated. He could see her guard going up, her gaze skittering away from his. He drew in a deep breath, realizing that now wasn't the right time to bare his heart. The last thing he wanted was to scare her off or push her away. He forced a small smile. "About the baby's name," he finished lamely. Linda blinked, momentarily caught off guard. "Oh," she said quietly, relaxing a fraction. You haven't chosen one yet?" "No," Mark admitted. He reached up to gently stroke the baby's soft cheek, his voice softer now. I know I've avoided it before, but she needs a name, and I want your input." Linda studied his face, searching for any sign of teasing or hidden motive. She found only sincerity. A gentle warmth unfurled in her chest. That's very kind of you to include me." "Well, she seems to love you more than anyone else in this house. It only seems fair," Mark murmured. A shy smile curved Linda's lips, and she looked down, her cheeks faintly flushing. "Maybe he isn't with Lydia," a hopeful part of her mind supplied. "Maybe there's nothing going on." For a few minutes they spoke in hushed tones about possible names. Mark suggested a few traditional ones he'd always liked. Linda offered alternatives that felt playful and unique. There was a surprising comfort in the easy conversation. It was almost like two parents quietly dreaming about the future of their child. Eventually the baby stirred and let out a tiny whimper. Linda instinctively rocked her, soothing the cry. "I should get her bottle," she said apologetically. "I'll walk you inside," he said softly. Side by side they re-entered the hallway, the quiet tension that lingered between them subtly dissipated by the shared focus on the child. As Linda turned toward the kitchen to warm up a bottle, Mark lingered a moment, watching her go. He exhaled, both relieved and exasperated by his own inability to say what he truly felt. "Soon," he promised himself. "Soon I'll tell her everything."